Okay, thanks again for joining us today. Today in our Solid Edge training series, we are covering advanced features. My name is Elise Woods. I'm one of the marketing specialists here at Swoosh Technologies, and I will be your host for today. A little bit on Swoosh. We are a leading provider and partner of Siemens PLM for over 11 years. Our team is dedicated to providing you the best software solutions, technical support, and process-based training to help you design and manufacture better. Our commitment to changing the way designers and manufacturers learn and leverage PLM tools has been a major focus for us and will continue to be our goal moving forward. Presenting today is Ilya. Ilya is a member of Siemens Channel Enablement Team. He works out of Hartford, Connecticut office with 34 years of total engineering experience, including 17 years with Siemens and 8 years in the Channel Enablement team. Ilya has accumulated extensive knowledge of engineering best practices. His expertise lies in solid edge simulation, Teamcenter Rapid Start, Cortana 3D, and it makes him an invaluable contributor to his team's efforts. With Solid Edge, there are so many different ways to utilize features within the program tool. There may be a better way to approach how you design. Today, we will be talking advanced features. Ilya will cover features such as lofts, sweeps, and solid sweep and blue surf. Using these features, he will show us tools and tips which will give you more speed and flexibility while further expanding your knowledge in Solid Edge. During the presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to add these in the question box located in your GoToWebinar panel, and Ilya will answer these questions after the presentation is through. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Ilya and have him take it away.
Thank you, Elise. Do you see my screen well?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to take a look at some advanced features inside of Solid Edge. But we're not going to be talking about features as features, because the ultimate goal is to make you more productive, to make you aware of different shortcuts and different advanced features that will make your day-to-day activities much easier and allow you to accomplish your goals much faster, taking more advanced routes. So essentially, we're talking about your workflows. We're talking about productivity using Solid Edge for you guys. So as Elise mentioned, we're going to take a look at some features inside of Solid Edge, advanced features such as sweep and lofted protrusions. We're going to talk about new feature that came with Solid Edge ST9, solid sweep. We're going to take a look at how you can efficiently use that feature in your day-to-day activities. And then we're going to touch on a blue surf. For those of you who are familiar with some of these features, maybe it would be useful to repeat some of these topics, but for people who are new to Solid Edge or maybe never explored these features, hopefully it will be good experience and good knowledge transfer. So Swept Protrusion, this feature has been for quite some time inside of Solid Edge, and the people probably familiar with that feature, but sometimes it's underutilized. The distinctive characteristics of this feature are the situation when you have guidelines as well as section curves, because this feature kind of requires guide curve. And even if you choose, I'm going to show you in the settings, if you choose a single guide curve, single section curve, it will still require guide curve. So it allows quickly and efficiently connect maybe existing designs or add advanced geometry quickly and efficiently. It can connect existing geometry, as I mentioned, or you can utilize newly created sketches on the fly. Lofted protrusion, again, this feature has been for quite some time with Solid Edge, and distinctive characteristics of these features are that there's no requirement for guide path. So pretty much you can use all the sections to connect your existing pieces of your design or create new ones on the fly again. But if you choose to use guide curves, you can do so as well. But for now, we're going to focus on these two, lofted protrusion and swept protrusion, and let me switch to Solid Edge and show you example. So the first feature which we were talking about is a swept protrusion. Immediately when you start that feature, system gives you feedback and gives you some options how to set it up. You can use single path or you can do multiple path and cross sections. Right now I'm on a single path. You can, by the way, turn off this dialog box so it won't bother you. If you use this feature a lot, it will remember your last setting. But there is also additional set of options that we're going to explore as I go through these. So obviously the first step would be selecting the guide path and then selecting the section. And immediately system creates this quite advanced geometric configuration for your features. But look at all the additional paths, additional options. So you can do full merge, where no other faces are created and it's a one single swept face. How about the situation where you need to scale it along the path? Maybe we want to start with 1 and end up at 1.5 or something like that. You can see how quickly and efficiently you can achieve that. So, and you can explore other options as you go through this feature and play with this. By the way, you can control how it attaches itself to existing geometry, whether it's a tangent continuous or curvature continuous situation. And also you can adjust some twists, angles, and stuff like that. So I created this lofted protrusion feature. What about, excuse me, swept protrusion feature? What about lofted protrusion? Let me add additional geometry while I'm in this file. And by doing that, I'm going to just show you additional functionality inside of Solid Edge ST9, which is awesome addition. If you're aware, we were able to duplicate components inside of assembly. Now we can duplicate features and bodies inside of part environment. And in order to do that, it's quite easy and efficiently doing that. I'm going to add coordinate system. As you can aware, as you're aware of this, coordinate system can be added by keying in numbers or by geometry. In this case, I'm going to just select geometry and start with a midpoint. It's quite a useful feature. All you have to do is just define a direction for one axis, and then define, you can use even XYZ coordinate system and define direction for another axis. And that is created. The first coordinate system is created. Now I can take advantage of this and reference in my next one, reference the existing coordinate system I just created. So I can just type in offset if I prefer to do that, let's say 12 inches. And maybe we want to go 180 around y-axis. And another coordinate system is created. So why am I doing this? Because this new feature addition in ST9, under pattern pull down, you'll find this duplicate. And I can select many different options. I can select chain feature. In this case, I'm interested in the whole body. And all I have to do, just select the reference coordinate system and then the one we want to use. You can imagine that this workflow would take a lot more if we didn't use this feature. You would have to mirror, you would have to rotate, you would have to do all the extra work, which is not necessary. And now I'm going to dive into this feature we talked about, loft. So loft protrusion, even though it might go with guide curves, but the beauty of it, you don't have to. And selection in Solid Edge is really powerful. So I can select the whole face as a one selection tool. Just you want to make sure and watch how your points are aligned. And you can see lofted connector is created, connecting these two bodies. The beauty of this feature in Power is that you can define how it progresses or transitions from existing geometry. I can go tangent continuous or curvature continuous. Watch what happens when I go with curvature continuous. It's trying to do its best, and you can see those little bellies show up here because it's trying to, actually it's doing that. It's trying to transition from existing geometry the best way possible as far as aesthetics and reflections. But I'm going to go back to tangent continuous, and you can see that it kind of straightens out. Another powerful addition, or I should say flavor of this feature, is ability to adjust position of one of the pieces that we're trying to connect. And if I edit this duplicate XYZ coordinate, maybe I want to go in X direction, like 4 inches. You can see how easily it adjusts itself and connects and continues connecting those pieces. So this is a great way to duplicate plus lofted protrusion is a great way to connect existing geometry in your design, or even use it from scratch when you wish to do that. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to talk about this new addition in ST9, which is called Solid Sweep. It's been asked for quite some time by a lot of customers, and it's very useful feature, very powerful feature. Saves you a lot of extra work. It's useful in many applications like industrial design, woodworking, as well as machine design as well. It supports different paths. It supports 2D and 3D paths. It works with the new Helix curve, which is new to Solid Edge ST9 as well. We're going to take a look at that in a minute. It does not need to be cylindrical. It works with quite advanced type of path. And as you can see, what happens, the tool that is going to be used to cut through the part, it's a separate body that's used to cut, as mimicking the real tool when you do milling or any kind of operation on the body. And let's take a look at how it works. I'm going to start with a simple example. What I have here, I have two bodies, and the way it works, we have the active body shaft, and you always want to be on that active body, the one that you're going to cut, actually. And inactive is your tool. These two additions found under these pull downs, so you can add material or remove material. Obviously, in this case, I'm going to use Solid Sweep to remove material. All I have to do is just select the path, select the body that actually is going to cut. Because it's cylindrical body, it knows how it's going to rotate around its own axis. And actually, before we do that, I want to show this new feature in Solid Edge ST9, which is called Helix curve. Let's start with that. So I'm going to select this guide, and you can see dynamically, and I can add this feature, and I can even select the points on the bottom of that additional tool. Something like this. Hold on one sec. Yeah, and once you created this path, you can adjust taper, you can adjust number of turns. I'm okay for now with number of turns 4. And now we're going to go with this feature I was talking about earlier, Solid Sweep. So I'm going to select actually the path, select the body, and for direction I'm going to use the same Excel sketch or edge. And in a second it will create this cut through. You can see it's quite advanced feature. By doing this way, it kind of cuts into the part, and you can adjust the path and update your model. Let's talk about additional feature. The way we use the same feature, except slightly in a different way. So you don't have to have so you better understand how it works. You don't have to be stuck with a specific body. You can see I have cylindrical body that can use also in the same kind of way. Already this helix curve was pre-created, and I'm going to use the same kind of, in the same way, Solid Sweep. Same workflow, quite easy. Select body. Select rotation, it automatically knows that, and we're going to select the direction again. And you can see that perfect cutout is created, or helical cutout is created on that shaft. Very easy, very user-friendly, very powerful. Let's move on. One example I would like to show you is that you don't have to rely only on Helix, and you don't have to have the tool specifically on a tool. So in this case, let's go to this protrusion, actually. And the same idea, we have a couple bodies, the one we're going to cut and one we're going to use to cut. As you can see, it's quite advanced geometry, but I'm going to go even further and show more advanced sketch. So let's see how it performs. We're going to do this solid cut again, and I'm going to use quite advanced guide path for that. The one very good addition to this feature is you don't have to be forced to use the tool placed specifically at the path. I can say don't place the tool on the path. So you can see that you can freely create this type of arrangement and this type of feature, even if your guide path is not actually coinciding with the position of the tool body. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about BlueSurf. BlueSurf is a very powerful tool that allows you to actually quickly modify your designs in a way that no other tool is capable of. BlueSurf is mostly for surface-based design, but you can find it very useful when you design mechanical parts as well. So like Loft and Sweep, BlueSurf utilizes cross-section and guide curves. And again, you're not forced to use specifically both of them. You can use only cross-sections if you're willing to do that. So let's take a look at BlueSurf as far as the quality of the surface. So Solid Edge provides the tool. It's very useful for industrial designers and people who are dealing with surfaces. Zebra stripes. This tool allows you to quickly and efficiently see how the surface is created and how it transitions between different existing parts of your design. So when you apply this tool, you can quickly see that when the transition between newly created BlueSurf and other surfaces is natural, it's actually breaking the zebra is quite aggressively. If you go with the continuity C1, which means tangency, it's still breaking that continuity of the surface, but you can see how they come together at the same point, pretty much. And finally, if you go with the curvature continuous option, which is C2 continuity, you will see how the zebra is reflected quite smoothly. So let's take a look at these examples. So the beauty of this, I'm going to open this example here. The beauty of BlueSurf is, again, that it doesn't require you to use guide curves. You can use only section curves. And as I select these section curves, it immediately creates the surface. Let's go into Inspect and show the zebra tool. So you can see how it breaks badly. By the way, for this zebra tool, you can adjust in the settings how many stripes you have, the density, let's say number of stripes, thickness. All this is available. So you can see it's breaking pretty badly. Let's go back and adjust how BlueSurf connects to those existing pieces. By the way, conveniently, you can switch. Doesn't matter how many side curves you have. You can switch to one fill tool and change to tangent continuous. You can see now they all come together, but still breaking. And finally, if I switch to curvature continuous mode, you can see that now reflective light is really smoothly reflects from the whole surface. That's ultimate goal for industrial designers and for machine designers as well, who utilizing this BlueSurf option. Okay, finally, how would we use this BlueSurf tool in the real world? I'm going to show a little example, a little demonstration that would drive this home. So I'm going to start with the BlueSurf, and sometimes when you start with the BlueSurf, it requires, in specific configurations, it requires both guide curves and section curves. And you'll see example of this right here. So if I pick these sections, by the way, BlueSurf goes and dynamically creates itself, as you pick cross sections. But in this case, I'm interested in the guide curves as well, because obviously this is not what I want. My goal is to create something like this, more meaningful. Okay, now that we've created blue surf, obviously we need to have exact copy on the opposite side. So for that, we can successfully use mirror over the symmetry plane. And now I need to close the ends of this design. Another powerful tool I'm going to talk about is the key point curve. It's a very powerful tool. It allows quickly connect couple points, but not only that, we can adjust how ends are transitioned as well. With only 2 clicks, I'm able to switch to tangent continuous progression, and the system allows me to pick actually the edges that's supposed to be this new design is tangent to. And you can adjust on the fly. Let's say I want to stay symmetrical, so I want to make sure it's exactly the same value on both sides. And now again, I'm going to use blue surf to close off my design. And again, I can use one single handle to take care of both sides, tangent continuous. And one thing which is really powerful, if you're still in a command, let me turn on the guide curve, which was already pre-created to save some time. So if you stay in a command, you can continue selecting different edges, and system will know to apply the same conditions, tangency conditions, to all your guides. Okay, finally, we can go and stitch all these surfaces together into one solid body, and system gives you a message that now we're dealing with a solid body. Another powerful side of this, let me save it. Another powerful side of this functionality, blue surf, that doesn't matter how many features below in the feature tree, you can always come back and say, I want to include additional curve, because maybe in this area I want to control the shape better, maybe make it wider or thinner. I can insert sketch, and conveniently I can just, system rolls back in a feature tree to appropriate location and inserts that particular curve. Now, if I want to try to adjust this curve to control my shape, let's do this again. You quickly notice that too many points here. You can see that because the complexity of the surface, when I created that new sketch after the fact, the quality of surface and the complexity of surface drives the number of points on that curve. So Solid Edge has tools to deal with that, and you can control easily how many points on that particular curve. So we can simplify that curve just by adjusting tolerance, chordal tolerance. We can adjust how simple or how complex that curve is, and then we can just simply adjust this curve by applying constraints like we normally do with 2D geometry. Let's say polygon controlling points for people who are familiar with curves. That's typical. Let's add additional line here to connect these 2 points. And what this allows to do, it allows to align actually midpoint with this polygon controlling point. So we want to make sure we stay symmetrical. And I can even connect couple points with a line and make sure that it's horizontal, and also to make sure that it's also stays symmetrical. So you have full control. And if you want to turn it into reference geometry or construction geometry, you're welcome to do that. Just pick these two lines and you're pretty much done. But what it allows us to do, it allows us to quickly and efficiently adjust our design. Now if I go into dynamic mode, you can see how I can adjust my design on the fly. I could even apply some dimensions to control more precisely and things of that nature. If you notice, when I created blue surf and convert it into solid body, you can notice, let me go and hide sketches. You can see that bunch of different blue dots appeared on the body. Those are called blue dots. They come with territory. They are part of blue surf technology and allow us to quickly and efficiently adjust multiple curves in one single move. System gives you this triad where you can pick manually or by clicking on a keyboard. X will cycle through planes and Z will cycle through axes. So let's say if I want to stay symmetrical, obviously we want to make adjustment along the symmetry plane. And also it allows you to adjust it either in a local or shape preserving mode. So right now I'm looking for a way to adjust this particular end. So watch what happens. I can actually sculpt my design as I go through. Same thing I can do on the other side. By the way, you can pick with the cursor. You can move it out of your way if you want to do that, and quite easily I can adjust my design on the fly. So you can see how efficiently and user-friendly I can do that. All right, and when you're done, you can always hide all these blue dots. And you might ask what it is that I just put together in front of your eyes. So let's go and add final touch. As you could guess, it's going to be drinking cup, and we can assign the axis of revolution and go 360 quite easily. Another advantage of doing it dynamically is that you can always adjust dynamically the height of your design, adjust the overall diameter, and things of that nature. So let's add a couple rounds here, and we're pretty much almost done. That's not what I had in mind. Okay, and finally we can hollow it out. Okay, our design is done, and you could see how quickly and efficiently I was able to do it with the blue surf. That's all I had for today. Hopefully it was informative and you could see the higher power of these additional features that you can utilize in your day-to-day activities.
Course coming up in this series. It is going to be covering patterns, circular and rectangular, and a long curve. While building assemblies, you often need to place standard or commercial supplied parts like nuts or bolts and sub-assemblies multiple times in a pattern or a mirror arrangement. With Solid Edge, you can quickly copy these parts and some assemblies into a pattern arrangement. And with available part libraries, you can easily find and place common use parts that comply with your company standards. Dylan Malinek will be joining us this time, and he will be presenting this webinar and show you how you can quickly make changes and shortcuts and tools. If you haven't registered yet, be sure to look out for the replay email that I will be sending to you in the next few days, and the URL listed on your screen. If you visit this URL, you can sign up for the next 2 courses we have. Also, in the last couple courses that we did, we provided you additional tutorial videos and practice files. We are going to be doing that again. The tutorial videos and the practice files will not be live until next week, but I will be sending out the replay video into your inbox in the next couple days. Again, the URL that's listed on your screen is also where you can find the tutorial videos and practice files.